you done now?
By now she was dead. We laid her down with our backs to the freezer. One of us slipped through the same secret passage.
Again?
Of course, back to the study. The murderer was in the secret passage. Meanwhile, Mr. Body been on the floor. He jumped up. The murderer came out of the secret panel, picked up the candlestick. Mr. Body followed us out of the study into the hall looking for an escape. The murderer crept up behind him and killed him. Will you stop that? No. Then he threw him into the toilet. And nonchalantly rejoined us beside the cook's body in the kitchen. It took less than half a minute. So who wasn't there the entire time in the kitchen? Whoever it was is the murderer. And we put the weapons in the cupboard, locked it, and ran to the front door. And throw away the key. But
hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cluedo the Movie Podcast, where we break down the 1985 movie clip 1 minute at a time. My name is Brad Gilmore. We're talking about minute 75. I'm joined by Jeff Smith again. How do I say it in Canada? Again.
Again?
I think so.
Are you thinking about a boot?
A boot. Again. You know, mum.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry is always the one that stands out. Like if somebody says sorry instead of sorry,
yeah,
you're like, oh, you're from Canada.
Right.
Right?
That's right. Michael J. Fox, we heard you say sorry.
We heard you say sorry. Have you ever been to Canada?
No, I was close because I was in Massachusetts for a bit, and that's right there on the edge, but never crossed the border.
I heard it's hard to get into.
Well, they don't want us.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. They're doing fine. They don't need us.
They don't need us. No.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree.
No.
We're talking about
we got a second no.
Minute 75 of Clue the Movie. What stands out here in this minute? So we start off with Miss Scarlet screaming. And,
we start with a scream.
And there's the bump coming from Tim Curry, which I love. So again, one of the things I found out about myself during the course of this podcast that we've talked about is I am really big on physical comedy, which I never knew.
Yeah.
I never realized before. Like, honestly, I never realized. I always thought I liked smart, like, oh, that's a very clever line. I see how they kind of weave that in there. Maybe I fancied myself more of a Letterman guy, and I turned out to be more of a Leno guy. Do you know what I mean by this? Like more of a broad comedy. Like I like it a little bit more broad.
There is a picture of Jay Leno right behind you.
But he signed it to me. That's why it's up there.
Yeah, you had no choice.
But to me, and he drew himself. I've shown you this before, right?
Yeah, you have.
He drew himself.
He did. No, I get it because it is a delight to watch Brad anytime. Usually it's Colonel Mustard stuff, but every time something physical happens, Brad falls back into his chair with laughter. And in this particular scene, and it's always visual, so you, the audience member, needs to remember your Clue knowledge and remember this is where. Well, first of all, Mr. Green gets to drop Wadsworth on the hard kitchen floor,
great,
which is nice,
and
a little payback,
and uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah,
like I would never peg Mr. Green for throwing somebody down like that. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he's the one getting taken advantage of, not the one taking advantage.
It's interesting you would use the word peg for Mr. Green. I
thought you would ignore it.
Nope. You talked for a while. I'm like, I thought about it. Like, don't do it. But if one person listening heard it, I didn't want to disappoint them. Anyway, so after that, Wadsworth definitely gets his revenge because he gets to throw Mr. Green around even more to the point where Mr. Green does stand up for himself and says, will you stop that? But no, and then he gets thrown into the toilet.
Thrown.
And thrown, yeah. I don't think I think we both had the same reaction. He gets, has to be some kind of padding in there or something that he gets thrown into because he takes a fall, and that is not a stuntman. That is Michael McKean
Yeah,
in his physical comedy prime.
physical comedy prime. And the thing is, when you think of like the great pratfallers of the 1980s, Chevy Chase comes to mind, of
Chevy
course.
Chase, sure.
There's a few others. Michael Richards, who Seinfeld. But before that, when he was on Fridays or even his spots on the Tonight Show and things like that, he was UHF, very physical comic. Michael McKean and Tim Curry in these last 3 minutes are putting on an all-star clinic here, and it's really, to me, it makes sense for me that a lot of wrestlers end up becoming stuntmen in Hollywood and stunt women because they obviously understand how to take what we call a bump, and instead of not just a fall but a bump, protecting yourself while falling. And Michael McKean's taken a couple great, and Tim Curry taking a couple great bumps here.
Yeah.
In the hallway when Tim Curry boom hits him from behind and McKean goes down, that's a great sell. It's a great sell.
There is stunt people that are now even more obvious in 4K in some of the collisions when they're all running down the hall. So it wasn't necessarily them every time, but I think Tim Curry gets most of the credit, and deservedly so, for the physical part of the sequence in the movie. But Michael McKean is holding his own for sure, to the point where Eileen Brennan almost speaks for everybody else when she goes, again, like we have to run more, because that's all they're doing for the last 20 minutes is just running back and forth on this little stage trying to make it look like a huge mansion.
Well, they're doing a good job of making it feel big.
I thought, I get tired.
Don't you agree, though? Don't you feel like this mansion is 30 times larger than what?
Oh, yeah. That's what I love about the matte painting too of the house. It's the exterior is humongous. There's like 3 or 4 floors, and there's windows everywhere. There's so many rooms that you never see.
But it's the theater of the mind, I mean, we feel like there's something more there than what there is, and we could explore this house forever. And then that's just good filmmaking.
It's like the Overlook. It makes no sense, but it's huge.
Right. Have you ever been in a hotel where you walk that far down a hallway with no windows or no openings of any kind?
Anytime I've been to Las Vegas, I'm always in the last room down the hall. So sure, and then there's lots of turns sometimes. I used to work in a hotel for just a few months in Anaheim, California, and it was, I don't remember how many rooms, but it was humongous, and it was confusing to a lot of people. And I did work there long enough to really figure out the layout, because there were some elevators that went to some floors and some that didn't. And I'm just going to look up how many rooms it was. It was the Anaheim Hilton, if anybody cares.
The Anaheim Hilton?
Yeah. And it's a very large, old hotel. 1,572 rooms.
1,572 rooms.
It's pretty big for...
Sounds rather large.
Hotel that's in a touristy area. 1,500 rooms.
Sounds rather large.
Yes. But this mansion does not have that many rooms. Bringing it back to
Clue.
Tim Curry, shining. Shining.
Now, let me ask you this real quick.
Yes.
Because here's the format of our show where we go on what's called the tangent.
We should have a sound effect for the tangent.
Oh, man, I wish I had something queued up that would make sense.
Your soundboard. Actually, very appropriate, because the score kind of does that when Mr. Green comes out of the bathroom, when he's wiping his hands. It does give a wah wah.
Well, let me ask: could Tim Curry? This is a big if. But look, just follow me here. Could Tim Curry have played the Jack Nicholson role in The Shining?
Yes, I will say he could, because Jack Torrance. The only part I would have trouble believing is I don't think Tim Curry ever played somebody's father and somebody's husband. That part might be weird. The transformation into a loony is very easy, but I'd also probably be rooting for him. Like, yeah, get that kid
Yeah, do it.
and Shelley Duvall. So I think so, but you'd be. I mean, part of Stephen King's critique of the Kubrick Shining is that Jack Nicholson is scary from the very beginning, and in the book, it's supposed to be a transformation. I think Tim Curry is always has a sinister notion to him.
Well, I think so does Jack.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I guess it can be done. But Jack, I don't know. Did you believe that Jack Nicholson was Danny's dad in The Shining?
I believe anything Jack Nicholson does.
Fair enough. Tim Curry. If Tim Curry is too scary to play Judge Doom, then he might have been too on the nose for the Overlook Hotel.
Now let me flip it back to Clue.
Good. Christopher Lloyd played
Jack Torrance.
Jack Torrance.
I don't see that one actually as much.
Great Scott!
But let me ask you this. Let's flip it back to Clue. Could Jack Nicholson have been Wadsworth?
Play Wadsworth? I wish I could do a Jack Nicholson right now because I would love to do some lines that I'm Wadsworth, the butler. I'm Buttle, sir. No,
I don't think
Jack Nicholson can be funny, but I think if Jack Nicholson opened the door as the butler, I would not go in.
No, but
like,
can you
good
imagine?
evening. You've been expected. No, bye.
Can you imagine Jack as Mr. Body?
Oh yeah,
totally right.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
totally.
That's
he would have
easy.
murdered that
That's
role.
easy.
It would remind me kind of like a Witches from Eastwick vibes.
Yeah. Even kind of like Joker before he's Joker.
Joker before
Jack.
he's Joker.
Always play Jack. I mean, his name would have to be Jack Body because he loves being Jack. Kind of like Tony Danza always had to be Tony. But yeah, can you imagine if? Now I want that clue so bad. 1985 version of Jack Nicholson. They go, good evening, sir. You are expected. Are you locking me in? I'll take the key. You'd be like, oh my gosh, that sounds like. And then he walks in.
Look, the Cluvians out there. They're a talented bunch of people. They really are. Can somebody AI this for me? Can somebody AI Jack as Mr. Body?
As Mr. Body.
I would just love to see what this looks like and just experience that because Jack Nicholson as Mr. Body might be the only thing that makes this movie better. Honestly.
I'm just picturing him in every scene, like passing out the weapons. In your hands, you each hold a lethal weapon.
Yeah. He would have crushed it.
Yeah, the only way to not see yourselves on the front pages is for one of you to kill Wadsworth. Now, boom. And then every time you see his dead body, like on the couch, you'd be waiting for him to get up. Like, he's not dead.
Right.
And then he should, like the end of Saw.
Just rise up?
Yeah, like I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife. And then cut to Mr. Body in the other room, get up and go, I'm also going to go sleep with his wife. Everybody, what? And then she goes,
I love this. And like him dying early, like getting killed early on, like makes everyone go like, wow, did they really just kill Jack Nicholson? Like you remember in the other guys when The Rock and Sam Jackson just aim for the bushes.
Yeah. It's definitely
he just died.
It's definitely a Janet Leigh in Psycho. You're like, oh well, this is obviously the main character. This is the bad guy. And then what a shock when he's the one on the floor.
Yeah. Oh God, Jack Nicholson.
Would it also? But would it be like too disappointing if you like came and thought, oh, here we go, Jack Nicholson is the bad guy, and then he dies, and then you're just like, wait a minute, I came to see Jack Nicholson as the bad guy.
No,
it'd be a very delicate.
No, it wouldn't.
No, Brad says
no, because the thing is,
Brad wants this.
He's going to crush it in every scene. Every scene, he's going to just crush it to another level. We're talking about 85 Jack, okay?
Yeah.
We're not talking about 08 Jack, where he was still great, but you know what I mean? Like we're talking about this is prime, peak of his powers. This is like What is he doing in 1985? What is Jack doing? Let me pull this
How
up.
to do the two Jakes. They're actually, while you look that up, there is a weird tie-in to Jack Nicholson and Clue that I learned from Colleen Camp. The reason why Clue was released in December of '85, which it was kind of pushed up, was because Jack Nicholson was working on The Two Jakes, which was a sequel to Chinatown, and he was having delays. So Clue took The Two Jakes release date.
Okay, let's
So
see.
there is a weird Nicholson tie.
Okay, so this is what this is. Let me start at 80.
Prizzy's Honor
You know
or something
what?
like that.
Let me start at 78.
All
Because
right.
78 is Going South, which I really love, and a lot of people don't. But it's him. It's Mary Steenburgen. It's Christopher Lloyd. Going South. He also directed that movie. But he does
Brown
Going
family.
South, The Shining, Postman Always Rings Twice. Right now, we're 3 for 3. Reds, which I'm not as familiar with. The Border, which I'm not as familiar with. Terms of Endearment. Great.
Oscar, I think.
Yeah. And also, his name was Garrett Breedlove. Like, how do you not get better than that last name for him? Prizzy's Honor is 85, which I think he was also nominated for an Oscar for, if memory serves me correct, or the movie was, one of them. Then 86, he does Heartburn. 87, he does Witches of Eastwick. Also in 87, Broadcast News, Ironweed, Batman. Come on, man. And then after that, you have The Two Jakes and A Few Good Men, Hoffa. I mean, this is 78 to 90. Let's just call it 92.
Yeah.
He's off the charts. He's off the charts. And he was nominated for Best Actor for Prizzy's Honor this year.
85, yeah.
So you could have had peak of his powers, prime Jack as Mr. Bond.
You could have had the best actor and Christopher Lloyd from the highest grossing movie of the year in Back to the Future, not Clue.
Mm-hmm.
And
then we would be talking. Now look, we like Leaving. Trust me, we like Leaving. But if I'm picking between Leaving and Jack, Leaving would pick Jack. Okay.
Yeah. If I'm picking between family members and Jack, my family members have got to go.
Now, would this not also round out the little talked about, uncompleted Jack Nicholson, Christopher Lloyd trilogy with Going South, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and then Clue? Can I get a great
wondered
Scott?
what has. Yeah.
Great Scott!
I've always wondered what has felt missing in life, and that is that third Nicholson Lloyd offering, and this is what this is sad.
It's sad, man. So, anyhow, that's what could have
This
happened.
became a bummer of an episode of what could have been, and it's all Brad Gilmore's fault. He's the one that we were just talking about. How do we trace that back? It became The Shining, the hotel, a place with a lot of rooms, running. That's how it started. Then we got to Jack. Tim Curry as the character in The Shining.
And then back over.
And then Jack as Wadsworth. And then brilliant Brad Gilmore. The boat turns into Mr. Body. And here we are in a world of what could have been. But that's all right. We love what we got.
And we do love what we got. And let me just end my Jack rant on this. These are his last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are his last 10 movies. These are his last 10 movies. Okay. Mars Attacks, The Evening Star, which I believe is a callback. It's a
Terms of Endearment
sequel, right? Or like a thing. So Mars Attacks, The Evening Star, As Good as It Gets, The Pledge, which I don't remember The Pledge, About Schmidt, Anger Management, Something's Gotta Give, The Departed, The Bucket List, and How Do You Know? He's got a couple bangers in there, especially As Good as It Gets, Mars Attacks, Something's Gotta Give. I like Anger Management, but The Departed, I love that movie.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go. Just a little Jack talk. A
lot of Jack talk.
And I encourage everybody to go on YouTube and just type in Jack Nicholson stories and listen to people tell stories about Jack Nicholson. It's one of my favorite rabbit holes to go down on the YouTubes.
And I do want to see that AI.
Somebody please do that for me. Somebody for us, not just for me. Let me know myself.
I'd love to do it, but I was trying to get AI to make a logo for a documentary title that I just wanted to see what the logo would look like, and I couldn't get AI to spell the two words right.
I think
It kept misspelling it, and I would type in again, no, that is not how you spell it, and it would say, oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for your patience. It's very polite about it. I will try again, and then it would mess it up again, and then finally, after like the sixth try, it said, I'm afraid I can't give you what you want, and quit. So I even got AI to like break up with me. Like, I can't. What you need, I can't give you. And it was spelling two words properly.
What do y'all think about?
I asked for a lot.
I want to ask the Cluvians, what do y'all think about a Jack Nicholson replacement of leaving? Are we in on this? Are we out on this? Hit us up on the Twitters or the Instagrams or the emails.
Yeah.
Do we like this idea or do we not like this idea? Because I've really talked myself into it.
I don't see how you can not like it. So I would love to hear that. I mean, other than how dare you eliminate leaving, which is valid.
I love Lee. If you ever get that follow-up interview.
Yeah, I'll ask him, hey, do you think Jack Nicholson should have played your part?
No, just tell him from me, my co-host Brad has this great idea about replacing you in the movie with Jack Nicholson.
You should never have been cast in Clue. Thoughts?
We love you in Clue, but would you have preferred to see Jack in your role? I think he would say yes. Like, I literally think he would say yes.
I don't think he would say yes.
Well, I want to know what the Cluvians think.
Say yes at all.
Is there anything else from this minute we didn't cover?
We started with the scream. We ended with a toilet. And
Meanwhile,
the camera work. I did want to shout out the camera work because, especially in the kitchen, it is impeccable. If you go back and look at this, so watch this scene. To me, I like this. So the cut to the floor.
She was dead.
Now watch him. It pans up with him.
One of
right?
us slipped through the same secret
Great
passage.
pan out, then zoom back in. I really like that little camera trick right there because it just felt really kinetic, and it keeps up with the score and it keeps up with the dialogue.
Yeah, this is my favorite score, the step-by-step music. And also, I think it's very wise that it's shot in a lot of they're not long takes, but there's not a lot of cut. It's following the action and letting it all happen in real time, because why would you mess with the timing of this scene? It's all feels very real. And I think that comes from John Lynn background in theater, and also why it's fun to do Clue as a play now, because you can it's not impossible to recreate the timing. It's all done human.
Yeah.
At how did the script describe the speed of this when the sequence
tour de
first
force?
starts? It's a tour de force, yeah.
Something tour de force. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, it is a tour de force.
Tour.
We'll just keep saying it's a tour de force.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
My search
You
isn't
don't have to
working.
look it up.
But yeah, tour de force. Let's see. Tour de force. The result will be something like an undercranked, speeded up section,
That's right. Yeah.
except that it will not be undercranked and will be done by the acting of Wadsworth. It will be a comic tour de force. There you go.
That's a lot if you're reading that script for the first time and saying, hey, this is going to be the best thing you ever did, so good luck.
Yeah, just work hard.
Not intimidating at all.
Well, Jeff, I think that's it for this minute.
Yeah.
We'll pick it back up.
I feel a little undercranked myself, so yes, let's go.
We'll go minute 76 Clue Movie Podcast, cluedoc.com. Is it cluepodcast.com? Is that what it is?
There is a cluepodcast.com, and we are on the X Twitter at clue_podcast if you want to chat it up.
All right. Well, until next time, Brad Gilmore, Jeff Smith. We'll be back. 76.